Okay, people, just sticking with the format here. So anyway, today is July 26, 2019. And what's happening today, people, is I'm getting into those apples. I've been doing dishes basically all day because, you know, as composting piles up and stuff and things pile up, right? And she's just like, what's that? What's that smell? She's like a pretty girl, right? You know, she likes, when she comes in and she's got her flowered prints on, or just her, because Tisha's fashionable, right? And I say to her, like, when I was young, I used to dress like you, right? In many ways. Only she has a better body than I had, right? Because she's got that Jamaican, right, in her. So anyway, I said, I need to get up into my closet and pull out my bright flowers, print fabrics with whatever I've got hanging in my closet. And, you know, and get my fashion on too, right? Well, I do these, I don't always have to look like a farmer's wife, but unfortunately that it is what it is right now, people. So I'm doing farmer's work, okay? That's what I'm going to be doing. What we're going to do here is this is just a little introduction. I'm not going to rush with these videos. You don't want to watch them. You don't have to watch them. You can have them in the background. You can hear me rattling around while you're doing your dishes or whatever it is. There's nothing asking you to come and listen to me babble. But, so, right? So what I'm going to do is, after I get off here, because I have a need to get into the X Club and go see what's going on with my babies in terms of my trees, because they're growing in there. It's another forest growing, right? So I gotta go and make sure that they have a little bit of water, or like I got those grape leaves growing and I don't want them to dry out. I haven't been in there for a couple of days, God forbid, if things are drying out. So that's the first thing I gotta do, okay? I gotta get up in there and check on the babies in terms of the walnut trees and the grapevines that are growing in there, right? I think I know where I'm going to put those red grapes. I have to build up something first, though. But besides that point, so because apples are dropping, I went last night and I got 2 more bags, and then Tisha went off with Andre, and she just came back with a little bag, and she says, oh, I don't understand why that woman doesn't let you pick the apples off the tree. Why does she have to wait for them to drop before you can come and get them? And I said, well, I don't know, and it's really none of my business, other than she lets me get the apples as they drop. So anyway, Tisha said, I didn't even try and pick them off the tree because they're falling now, right? So we have to go and pick them up. So I got like 4 bags full of apples that I got to pick through. And the ones that are no good are going into the compost, which makes me really happy. And then I'm going to cut and peel, and I'm going to steam them today. That's what you're going to see me do. I'll probably be up late, but Tisha let me have a little sleep this morning. I slept a little later, right? So that was good. And then after it's cooked, you know, you strain it, whatever, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge. And then starting tomorrow, I do like a water bath canner to boil my jars, provided that the water bath canner isn't rusting out, which mine is. So you have to be careful with that. Well, the racks anyway, right? So I do like water bath canners to boil my jars, because when you're canning juice or fruits or stuff like that, where you're gonna, you know, where you can use a water bath canner to seal your jars, you have to sterilize your jars. So I'm gonna have to dig for the water bath can. That's just one more thing piling up in my teeny weeny little kitchen. But besides that point, I have to dig out my jars, which I have some. I'm looking for the smaller rim versus the wide mouth, because the wide mouth you want for cucumbers or whatever, right? Fruits, that type of thing. So between that's what I got to do between now and tomorrow. But I'm going to start the juice first, and then as it's cooking, then I'll start digging out the canners, and then of course by the time everything's done, I'll be too tired. And then I'm going to get up in the morning, and because I've already kind of like cleared out some stuff, it will be much easier just to get up, wash the jars, sterilize them, get your juice out, heat it up, right? Get your thermometer and can it, and then because I have room downstairs in my food storage, right? Those jars, I don't have to worry about putting up here, right? In terms of long-term storage. And I've got apple juice still from last year kicking around in little cubbies and corners, right? So those ones are going to be going downstairs in the specific food storage area. So I feel really good about that, right? I just wanted to say that. So it's important that I do this, people. It's so important that I do this. My feet get really sore, like really the bottom of my feet, and then what it does is it works its way up into my muscles, because I think what happens is, I'm not a doctor, but for me, right, like for me to feel the types of aches and pains that I'm feeling compared to last year and the year before and the year before, and you know, pain compounds as you age with your ailments, right? One of my hot zones are the bottom of my feet, because I have that arch. Now, I could try and do this again. I made an attempt of it, but I wasn't very good at it. But you know those little kneeling pads? Like if you have feet problem with the arch and you need a little extra support one time, like, because I had this problem when I was younger, as I was giving birth to my children, and I went to see a foot doctor, and he showed me a little trick, and that little trick was, you know those little those little foamy kneel pads? You cut out a piece that can go under that arch, and you tape it in with double tape into your shoe, and that's supposed to help alleviate the pull, right? I attempted to do it, but I didn't cut these right. And because, you know, I'm stubborn and I'm always busy, I haven't gone back to do it, but I really need to start taking some time for my own ailments, and foot care is one of them in terms of that arch, because, you know, I'm walking on, what is it called, hardwood floors, and this cremette, whatever it's called, tile that's as hard as a rock, because it's kind of like rock, right? All day long, and that's not including anything else that I'm doing when I'm running around on my feet. And then what happens is I start, when I'm outside especially, I'm out there lifting those heavy buckets, you know, 35 pounds and up, carrying them across the yard or lifting them or doing whatever I'm doing, right? And so when I lift these heavy things, it puts extra weight on my feet. So long story short, at age 58 now, you know, I've got some serious aches and pains. And because it's generating from the bottom of my feet, it's working its way up my body, and it's affecting my other muscles, people. And because I'm not as young as I used to be, the regeneration of my muscles is not as quick as it was the year before, and right? Because I'm not really doing anything different that I wasn't doing 4 years ago, for example. But I definitely feel different. And it's not just isolated to the bottom of my feet. It's generating up my legs. It's in my arms. It's I don't know how to explain it. So, if you have feet problem with the arch, go find one of those kneeling pads. I would recommend, this is what I'm going to try and do to get this right, paint your foot with some tempera paint or something, you know, just children's paint, and then take a piece of paper and stand on it, and then remove your foot straight up so that you can see how big the arch is in there in terms of the general shape of what you're cutting out from that little foamy, right? And then you sliver it off until it's comfortable, and then you just stick it in to give you that support in your shoe as you're walking about. That is supposed to help to alleviate that problem, which lots and lots of people have. And I'm noticing with age, it gets really bad to the point where I don't even want to walk sometimes, but I have to. So that's one idea if you have that problem. The other thing is, because I have Comfrey in my yard, you know, it's one of these, I'm going to do it. I haven't done it yet. I really need to do it. I wanted to do it yesterday and the day before, and I just haven't done it yet. But Comfrey, I don't have the jar now. I'll show you later. Right? I'll show you what the plant looks like too. has a natural healing properties in terms of, like, if you were all bruised up and stuff like that, you know, you take Comfrey and you put it in like a salve in between a paper towel or whatever, and you moisten it, and then you put it on your bruises or whatever it is. I don't know about an actual open cut with abrasions, because when you read up on Comfrey, why are we talking about Comfrey? But anyway, when you read up on Comfrey, it's not something that you want to ingest all the time, because they don't have a lot of studies on it in terms of how safe it is for certain organs in the body and all this other shit, right? But they're not saying, some people recommend drinking it once a day, some people say very rarely, some people say not at all. So I think, you know, it's a debate, right? But in terms of it being like a medicinal plant that's like ancient from long time ago, it has a history, people, right? And because it has history, you should not ignore it. So in this case, because it's been known to heal up the bruising process and that type of thing, if it can heal up the bruising process, because it helps to regenerate that muscle and the bones and the skin and all this other stuff that makes up the human body, I want to take Comfrey, put it in a salve. I so wanted to do this yesterday, people. Or it was the day before when I was laying on the couch. It's like, okay, you know you're laying on the couch. Like, don't be lazy. You have the Comfrey. It's in the jar. All you have to do is just get up, put some on a little paper towel. I have organic paper towel, freaking, what is it called? Bamboo, right? So it's not like, you know, throwaway kind. Is I can keep using it over and over. You just wet it, you put it underneath your feet, you get a little bit of saran wrap, or you get a plastic bag, put your foot in there, tie a little string, and just relax. No? Let the Comfrey do its magic. Because if it worked, and my feet are not as painful as they have been and are, well, that would be amazing, people. But then in my mind, I'm like, but too much Comfrey is not good for you. It can attach itself to the liver or wherever it goes, and it can actually damage organs. That's drinking it. But, so, right? If you ingest it, it becomes more dangerous. If you put it on the outside, it tends to heal bruising and that type of thing, right? If you put it on muscles and tendons and those types of things that are aching, I would assume that those same properties would go in and they would help to heal. But does it travel up the leg and go into the liver? I don't know. I don't know if I want to be a test subject on that one to figure it out. But it's not something that I would do all the time. And because Comfrey has been around for a very long time and people have used it for centuries, I don't see why I can't try and experiment with it. So I'm going to introduce Comfrey into the program, and I'll use myself as a test subject on the bottom of my feet. Because that's a big issue, because now with my age, what I'm finding is that it's traveling up my body. I'm thinking it's pain on pain on pain. I think when the brain constantly feel, because I'm asking myself, why are you feeling more pain than you felt a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever, right? In terms of this in the eyes, the pressure, the ringing, that's different. But when the body itself starts to have aches and pains, right? And it's not because I'm lifting buckets or whatever it is. It's because, you know, it's something else. I'm thinking, well, it's because your brain is always thinking about the pain in the bottom of your feet. It never really gets a chance to relax. Even when you lay down and you put your feet up, that's when you really begin to feel it. And you have no way to stop it other than to maybe take a medication, which I don't do, people. I don't go to the doctor and get pain medication. I don't. Right? So I'm going to use Comfrey, and if it works, I'll let you know. And if you have this problem and you don't know how to fix it, one solution, I don't know what I did with it, I already lost them. One solution, and it did come from a doctor, is to go off and get those little kneeling pads. But stand on the paper first so that you get to find out the shape of your arch, then cut it out, and then you just sliver it off until it's comfortable. And then as you walk on it, this will begin to conform to your feet. Because when I was younger, it actually worked. Right? So, Okay, now what we're going to do, oh yes, this book is gone now, this one here. Somebody's laid claim to it. So we've got one book going out in the mail next week sometime. And here's what's going to happen, okay? Again, I'm not going to rush with these videos, all right? Even if I do this, show you the, what is it called? The X Club, and we'll go revel with our trees for a little while. And just imagine a forest. And then I'll empty the apples into the sink and I'll show you what goes on. And by that time, if the video is too long, I'll just upload this. And then I'll go into the videos with the apples. It's not like I haven't done it before, so, you know. And maybe I'll upload it tomorrow, right? We'll see. What's more important is that we talk strategy. Strategy, plan things, you know, stay positive, right? Work on solutions, that type of thing. That's what I'm trying to do right now. This here has been laid claim to. It's like staking a claim. Okay? So what I'm going to do between now and the next week or so, right, is I'm going to get into my sewing room. And I'm clearing off my sewing table anyway, people. I have to, because Andre is going to be going to school. And I've got, like I said before in the past, I have a lot of fleece and fabrics that I can make for, like, my grandchildren to make them little clothes. And I kind of want to get back into a little bit, if I can, into my sewing, in terms of sewing for women mainly, right? The things that I like to sew, right? Before I go completely blind. And give Tisha that opportunity to start sewing. Because I have some beautiful fabric, people. Some beautiful fabric. It's just, the yard keeps me busy. And then, of course, I have my grandchildren and my health is... Right? Okay. So, I kind of have an idea of where I can start putting some of this paperwork that's in my sewing room elsewhere. But my attention is on the apples right now. Because to get 24 jars plus, and we're talking quart-sized jars, of organic apple juice on pennies on the dollar. Like, seriously. I probably won't spend no more than 20 bucks in terms of lids and sugar, if that. If that, people. And I'll get, like, blackberry juice, what is it called? Apple juice, and all that is going downstairs, because I already have a stash upstairs. I have to do that, okay? That's part of being frugal. It's like when, you know, opportunity knocks. God provides to you in mysterious ways. Those, just all those little things, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work over the next week, because now I'm a little more motivated. Not only do I need to make clothes for my grandson to go to school, but I want to spruce up Amari when he goes to his appointment to see all the women in his life. Right? Right? Why not? And whatnot, right? And so anyway, I have a box I have to send out to Kitimat. I promised this lady I'm going to send her some blackberry syrup that I've canned. And she asked for some twigs, right, in terms of rooting for raspberry plant and blackberry plant, right? I've already sent her out the walnuts, whenever I did that, 5 months ago or something, 4 months ago. Hopefully she got some trees out of it, but she got it a little late. But anyway, and I got her teapot here. And we were actually discussing about me sending her a collection box so she could take it out into her community and collect money for a pet program in terms of for the feral animals that are out there. Because this is up in the bush, right? It's bush town, right? It's growing now, but it's a small community, right? And there's a lot of feral animals out there, or people on fixed incomes that could benefit from a local spay and neuter program, that kind of thing, right? So I have to touch base with her on that, and if she's still interested in that, I'm going to send her the box, but I've got her teapot, and so I have to get this box out. So I'm going to pack the box, and as I'm packing the box, I'm going to start packing up these books, because there's 2 other women that are interested in these books. They just haven't told me which one they want yet. 1, 2, yeah. And then we've got the fourth woman with the first book that was given away, the pasta one, yet unnamed. So I'm going to clear off my table. I'm kind of excited, right? It gets me more motivated to use that energy that I don't have to clear off another desk, actually ShaMay's desk, really, and start moving that paper that way, organizing it there as I work with it, so I can, one, maybe start sewing a little bit, only in my head, but hopefully I might get some time to do it, and I'll have the space to do this. And as I do this, I know I'm just rambling, right? As I do this, people, I'm going to try and bring in a map into the sewing room, War Room 2, right? And as these books are going out, I'm going to get some like little stickies or something, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it with thumbtacks. I have a map already. I'm pretty sure there's Canada and the United States. So I figure if I just get little hearts or little stars or something. So let's just say this one is going to, what's a good state? Virginia. We'll just say this book is going to Virginia. I don't know where this person lives. Then what I would do is I'd take a little star and I'd go on the map and I would just put, you know, that little star in the general area of Virginia from where this book was sent to. And then as they're going out the door, I'm going to add the stars on, right? And then we'll, you know, that's our way of coming together. Justice for ShaMay, right? And then as we build on that and more people get involved, I'm trying to figure out a way to, I don't, draw in, invite, open up, facilitate the introduction of people like ShaMay who have lost their lives and the family members want their loved one to be on that soul train. Because it's kind of like a soul train. This is a soul train, people. Okay? You'll see the soul train when you see all those little stars popping up, or little hearts, or whatever they are. It will become a soul train. Right? And then when the books run out, well, you know, other people can sign on. Maybe they have a room full of books that they don't want, and you know, I mean, there's so many variables, right? We don't worry about running out of books. Hold on a minute. That's my Winnie the Pooh old dial-up phone. Okay, so this video is just going to pretty much, after we're done here, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the X Club. We're going to go look at the babies, water the plants a little bit or whatever. And I'll get into the greenhouse later. And then I'm going to empty the apples. And when the apples are in the sink, and you can kind of see what I'm going to be doing for the next 48 hours, right? It's all going to be good. So in the meantime, you just take what I'm saying right now, put it in the back of your brain, and think about that soul train that we're going to build on through just, you know, supporting each other. Right? It's not all just about ShaMay, people. ShaMay is just showing the way. Right? Like I said in past videos, I don't know if I'll ever get a criminal justice, a civil justice for ShaMay, because even if I file a lawsuit, people, right, the chances of me getting a lawyer are so slim because the corruption is embedded that deep. And we know that if I go in by myself, it's easy to blow me off as scandalous, frivolous, vexatious, and a waste of the court's time. So by that standard, there will be no justice for ShaMay. But on a map with a soul train, well, that's a whole different freaking ball game, right? And nobody's doing it with malice in terms of we're trying to hurt somebody else. No, we're not. We're trying to not do that, people. What we're trying to do is make us stronger and make us so that we can survive and cope and help each other. So What else? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clear out my sewing table over the next week or so in between this cooking, which really can whack me back, people, because I'm aches and pains I never had before. I will try and use Comfrey as an experiment to see if it helps with my feet, right? And I'll let you know if it does, because I've been wanting to do it. I've been just lazy to do it. It's not that I don't have it. I have it. I just lazy, right? And, yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, for now, I will go now into the X room, X club / painting room / greenhouse. Okay, so we're just going to go through the line here, right? This is what I did last night. It came out of the can at, what, 5 to 12 or something like that. I really like this, people. I'm like so tempted to eat it myself. Now, as for the liver and whatever broth I have left over, I'm not going to cross-contaminate my apples. So basically what I'm saying is I'm cleaning up, wiping everything down, because this was turkey and whatever. And, you know, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take a little cloth, a little bit of bleach water, wipe everything down. You can see I'm just bringing out the pots. This is where Tisha starts having panic attacks. But besides that point, so, right, and you know, I don't have, this is where I had my cucumbers fermenting, you know, there's lids, right, here's some cheesecloth. I think what I'm going to do with that, the rest of the turkey broth that I have with the liver is I am going to make some split yellow pea soup for Amari. I mean, that's right, and this is, again, something that you can either use to gain weight or lose weight, right? Because we're dealing with whole food here. So after I make the soup, I'm going to fry the liver. I'm going to put one piece of liver in the middle of his little jar with the soup around it, and I'm going to freeze it. Hold on a minute. Okay, now I'm back. So this is what I just came to my sink. This, as you can see, right now, they're not in the best of shape because they're falling down and you're having to pick them up off the ground. You know, they're ripening to the fullest before they fall. These ones didn't make it, but I'm okay with that, people, because I have compost, right? This is primo stuff to make primo compost dirt, right? And then, of course, we've got these babies here, so maybe, you know, depending on how I feel tonight, maybe I'll start getting these, because I know there's not the big old trees that used to be there, but there will be more of these coming, and I don't want to get behind on them, right? So hold on a minute. Okay, so now we're going into the X Club. As you can see, it's turning into a forest in here, people. Right, this is my oak tree, one of them, white oak. Right, the squirrels really like this one, and they're cutting them down. They need to stop it. This is a horse chestnut. And then as we go into here, I'm trying to move slow, right? You can see, this is getting bushy. There's my purple grape plant. I'm hoping I'll be able to grow purple grapes from it, but you don't know until they start producing grapes, which can take a long time. They have to grow a long time before they start producing, but boy, once they start producing, that's all they do. Wait till I'll show you my grapes grown in my yard. And then you can see they're like popping up all over the place, right? So at this point, I'm not really doing anything with them. I'm just letting them grow. I brought this sickly one in. I don't know why it died. Haven't quite figured it out yet. But you can see it just got one little sprig, but it's dying from the inside, so I don't know. I just put it there to see if maybe it would recoup itself, but I don't think it will. So, right. So I'm going to give everybody a little bit of water first before I start with those apples, right? And then I just want to. This is my first one of my first trees, people. One of my first trees. This white oak right here. Look at how beautiful this tree is. And white oaks don't really require a lot of pottage. If you notice how small that is, this is going on 3 years old, and look how big it is. It just loves it there. You can see I'm behind on things. And then, speaking of trees, this guy here's got me perplexed. Where is it? This tall one. Can't really tell. Anyway, this tall one. This one that's grown like 4 feet since the beginning of the growing season. And that's because what it's done is it's busted through the pot and it's branching out now, people. And I'm almost tempted to just let it grow. And then when it comes time to cut it, just cut it. Because at this point, I don't know where I'm even going to find a home for it. And I noticed that when I put them in big pots like that, you know, they stay stunted, which is nice because you don't want too many of those big ones because it's turning out to be a forest in here, right? And so I'm debating just to let it grow for a while, for a few years. And if we lose one because it's time to cut it, well, we still get the wood. We still get, I mean, this thing will take 10 years to grow before it will produce a nut. But it's pretty healthy, so speaking of healthy, look at that squash. Where is it? That's big. I want to get some beans. Actually, I should do that with the split pea soup with the liver. I'm going to get some of those beans, so when I make that, I'll get these beans and then I'll walk you through that too. Hold on a minute. Okay, so I'm back here. So here's what's happening. This computer is maxed out. My son is going to reformat it for me. In the meantime, this one here, my daughter bought for me for my birthday. And I actually installed my program. I have this one. Everything's old school with me. Winnie the Pooh dial-up. I have no cell phone, people. I use old CDs. I still used Windows 98 with old CDs for Andre. Right? I've got this one too. I don't know what would happen if I installed 2 different editing programs on this computer. I kind of want to, because I don't necessarily like to use this one all the time, especially if I'm going frame by frame, by second, half a second of it at a time, if I'm wanting to really zoom in and see something. So I've installed one program into this, and so far it works. And now, because I've got non-profit stuff to do, right, I'm looking for my, you know, the word processor thing, so you can type. I have to find that disk. I'm going to install it in here, and hopefully it will work. I'm going to install my Windows Front Page 2000, which is the editor that I use to make web pages with. That's an old CD. How it's going to work with this computer, I don't know, right? It ended up getting fried on this one, but I like to have two separate. I like, right? So when this one gets reformatted, I would put it on this one, but I'm hoping I can put it on this one, work on it, bring it here, and then look. So what I'm trying to say is this, I'm now taking to this computer, I'm converting it over on this computer, then I'm saving it on a flash drive, and then I'm uploading it onto YouTube, and then after this computer gets fixed, I'll put that other program back into here, and then I don't have to do things kind of twice, right? So, you know, things are taking me a little longer, right, because I'm in between computers right now. But it's good, though, because now I've started to use this one, right? And I'm now just starting to install programs into it, and the one that I've installed so far seems to be working just fine. So that is good. So I'm going to end this video now because we don't want a very long one, and it's probably already long enough. I tend to repeat myself over on, you know, things that maybe I should just say once, but the more you hear it, the more apt you're going to think about it to try it for yourself. So again, if you have that arch problem, there's a name for it, and you don't know what to do, one idea is to go get those kneeling pads, put your foot on the paper with some children's paint on it to see how, that's how I'm going to do my next cut, right? I'm going to paint my foot, I'm going to step on some paper, and then I'm going to take that and I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to put it on there, and then I'm going to take a utility knife, and then I'm going to sliver off to try and get the right height in terms of supporting that arch. And I will find some time in the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 days after the mad rush with apples. You see, that's the thing, though. The apples are falling, so I have to do apples like every 2, 3, 4 days. Otherwise, they're spoiled too fast, right? Kind of have to get them right away. And, but I'm going to try that Comfrey. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, and have yourself a good day.